Okay, so this is the dilemma I have. If you're looking at this, you're about to see a picture, a crude diagram of the average human brain, and in it you can see that these sections are very crude. By the way, this is not scientifically accurate. This is demonstrative, but in it you will see, if you're watching this video version, you'll see the conformity section and the judging people section towards the front of the brain, healthy and intact. And then as a crude demonstration, if I show you another picture, it might be on screen or it might just come up. This is my brain. This is where the conformity section is unfortunately damaged. I don't know why it was damaged. I don't know if it was at birth. Don't know if it happened somewhere during upbringing. Don't know if it was after reading Jordan Peterson book. But anyway, it is the way it is. So I sometimes struggle to understand what I'm meant to be doing with life. And so the strategy, the workaround I've found, because I'm not good at this, is I just try and watch what other people are doing, and then I copy. Okay, I from that I can gauge what I'm meant to want, what I'm meant to be doing, and I just try and follow along, and just to make sure I'm staying tight. And then I pretend to enjoy these things that people do too. So it's not something other people do, it's something specific to me. And so that's why with goal setting, New Year's resolutions, all that stuff, I'm always a little bit challenged. Obviously, this video is coming relatively late into the year, but also that might be a bit of an advantage. So this broken conformity section of my brain does come with advantages, and I'll be using it today to try and share, I guess, a no BS goal setting. This is my attempt to try and be. I want to fit in more this year. I want to be honest, and I want to behave more according to social standards. So, in that attempt, I hope you don't judge my goal setting attempt. Anyway, where was I? So I want to start with my my word for the year, okay? And having a word for the year is not something that I ever thought I would do. The younger version of me growing up probably might have cringed at this, but it was a couple of years ago, and this friend I was talking to, this good friend of mine, she asked me what my word of the year was. This was for 2023, so this is just a bit of a unnecessary backstory to start with. But yeah, she asked me what my word for the year was, and basically, even though I never thought I'd do something like that, I guess she's kind of attractive. So I thought, what the heck, I can have a word for the year. And I basically just copied hers, which was allow. So it's not the most original thinking on my part. So that was 2023. Then another year comes around, end of 2023, December, January's looming. Same friend pops up again. Hey Joe, what's your word for the year? Gonna be. Sorry, sneeze wasn't part of it. I thought, oh, we're doing this again, aren't we? So basically, I'm not proud of this. I kind of cheated and said allow again. My argument was that allow would save me coming up with another word for 2024, basically. But also, it's a pretty good word for the year if you do such things. So, that was my little secret. It was a little bit of laziness. Then 2025 rolls around, and so now I'm in this predicament because I can't say allow 3 years in a row, can I? So I had to come up with something else, and I said the first thing that came to my head, basically, when she popped up and asked, which was beauty. And I guess, again, that's probably because it was something I thought she expected me to say. And so that was all well and good. I went on my way, and then a couple of weeks later, I was at this birthday party, and a good mate's girlfriend asked me this question: "What's your word for the year?" Now I had beauty saved up, so that's kind of, I was stuck there. said beauty. That's my word for the year. And she looked at me kind of funny, which was fair enough, because beauty, it's one thing to write that in a WhatsApp message, but it's something else to say it out loud and hear yourself say it. And I thought, ooh. So seeing the kind of confused look in her eye, I retracted it. I pulled that back from the abyss. And I said, instead I said fun. And she nodded as if to suggest that was a much more acceptable answer. And then we both went our separate ways. But it was a couple of weeks later. I was trying to do this exercise, this 2025 goal setting, which took me better part of 6 weeks of the new year. And I was reflecting. I thought, you know what the mistake I made is? I was pulling out these trivial words of the year based on what I thought other people expected me to say. You know what I mean? And I think I was more trying to play to them than actually looking at what resonates with me. And that's why I think the words were so flowery and kind of empty and trivial, right? So then basically I was in this position of asking, well, you know, what's not trivial that if I was actually going to do this could be my word for the year? And the answer, of course, was cash flow. Cash flow. So we struck through beauty. We had fun, then got rid of fun. The word for the year is cash flow. And why? Well, a couple of reasons. I need cash flow. Cost of living, these are challenges you're not alien to. Also, cash flow is probably just a bit more useful than beauty at this point in time for me. And, you know, it's honest, it's real, it's tangible, it's got utility, it's not flowery, so I like it, cash flow. And, you know, let's face it, this is a material world, and I am a material, not girl, obviously, but young fella. So cash flow it is. And then I moved on to, you know, the other goals for the year. And again, these are not things I normally set. I would never write these down. I'd never, you know, build a practice around it. It's just not what I do. I'm kind of a bit more spiritual and wooey, and I kind of, you know, believe that what's in store for us this is what I usually believe. What's in store for us is in store for us. We can't necessarily control it. Yeah, we have things we want, which is okay, but, you know, let's be grateful for what we have instead of thinking about, well, anyway, that's a whole rant. And part of, you know, choosing cash flow as my word for the year is to help balance out the spiritual years I've had in the last couple of years, because it has been some nice Zen spiritual kind of time, but now it's time for the cash flow. Anyway, goals, yes. So we can talk maybe in the next video. I'm going to have a bit of a pot shot at the New Year's thing, and why I think, you know, certain goals and New Year's resolutions can be flaky. But for now, I'm going to give it my best shot, an honest shot. And this is where I came up with the idea of having a domestic goal for the year, right? And I'll just make sure I'm keeping up here, because no one ever talks about domestic goals, right? People, and I've noticed this, right? It might just be in my circles. But when people talk about what they want for the year or what they want to achieve, it's always like to me, like no one wants to help out more. No one wants to be, you know, be nicer to their family or friends. No one's goal for the year is ever to become more self-aware, right? It's always so like things I want, and I wanted to get away from that, because that's like this selfishness, self-obsession. I'm not judging. That area of my brain that judges people is damaged. I don't judge people. I can't. But yeah, I just thought, what an opportunity to do something refreshing. And that's why I thought of domestic goals, because no one sets domestic goals. And yet, up to 50%, sometimes more of our lives, there was actually research I was doing, is actually spent in a domestic setting, such as a home or somewhere you live, or somewhere that other people live when they let you be there. So I thought, why not set a domestic goal? And I thought I could start really simple. And I thought, you know, for example, one thing I'm not overly proud of is when I spend, you know, time with my mum. I'm coming through her house and leaching, as I so often do. The washing. I so often see the washing is done, And what do? I just ignore it. You know what I mean? I just wait for someone to come and deal with it. That's 2024. No more. I want to kick that in the bud. So there's Mary McKillop, who once said, never say, she's a Australia's first saint. She said this thing which has always stuck with me: never see a need without doing something about it. And I thought that so applies. So from now on, in 2025, when I see that the washing is done, instead of just walking away and ignoring it, I'm going to make sure I shout out, "Mum, the washing's done." Or someone, "It needs to go in the dryer." It shouldn't always have to be Mum. Someone else could probably do it. Instead of just walking away, you know what I mean? I really want this year to be the year that, you know, I make these incremental self-improvements, help out more, and help out around the house if I can. So that'd be my domestic goal. I did mention a social media as an area of social media. See, social media, everyone gives it a bad rap, I think. Like, I get it, there's negatives. Totally fine with that. Not disagreeing. But for someone like me, I just find it, I can't help notice that there's positives too. So instead of bagging it, it's part of our lives. I rather look at the positives. And so for me, social media is a great tool. It's a great way to see what people are up to without asking. Learning things about them you'd never know, and would maybe even not care to know, but at least you have the option. It's a great way of keeping track. Again, I have this conformity, like delay and impairment. So I find it a great way to keep track with what you should be doing. So for someone like me who often falls behind on major life milestones, social media is like this good little kick in the guts, like, hey, don't forget, you got to get this, you got to get that. This will make you happy, that'll make you happy. It's this beautiful little nudge, this little kick in the guts. And I can see why that can be negative for people, obviously. I can see where there's a toxic element to that, but hell, guys, I think there's a positive there too. And no one ever talks about that. So I'd actually, because of last year, I was quite productive. I was in the submarine. I guess I did a lot of writing and work, and I was probably too productive. I guess I kind of neglected the social media part of my life. And so part of this year would actually be making a concerted effort to reinvest and actually just get a bit more time in on social media. And it's good because you can kind of track that stuff. There's apps on the phone and all that help you like realize you're not spending enough time on it. So I plan to utilize those. That should be pretty easy. Books. Obviously, books feature so heavily in people's New Year's resolutions or when they're setting new goals for themselves. But you know, last year I kind of read a few books, not heaps. I read some certain classics like Catch 22, The Trial by Franz Kafka, and I found some of them like overhyped. And I also don't see how they can really help me with my kind of cash flow word of the year, my central focus. Whereas I think social media has more cash flow opportunities, financial opportunities, to be honest. Like, I'm grateful that people read books as a writer myself, right? So like, I'm not knocking it, but there's a lot of sunk time that goes into reading. You know what I mean? And people are always pushing themselves to read more, even when they don't enjoy it. It's like they're trying to enjoy it. It's like, guys, if we don't enjoy it, let's just not try. Like, why? You know what I mean? Because even if you don't enjoy it, I guess you feel good after, which is kind of cheat. I don't know. It's a bit cheating. It's kind of the reverse of social media. Even if you enjoy social media, you normally feel dodgy after. So explain that one to me. Something's off there. But anyway, I'd say probably read less books, which is what my mate James said is his goal, because he reads like, well, I might have read 12 books last year. He reads like 240 or something a year, but he set a goal to read less books, and I might just, I might copy him. James is a bit of a beast. So yeah, read less books and hopefully sell more of my own because of the cash flow goal. And that brings me to my next point, Netflix. I would actually say, another controversial one, I want to watch more Netflix this year. There are some great documentaries on there. in particular, and some good shows. But and I always mean to watch them. I have this list, but I never get to them, or I start one and I don't follow through, and that's just never a nice feeling. So I want to crack through that list this year, and probably watch more Netflix. I mean, it's a great way. It's a great way to learn. Great way to consume material. It's pretty accessible, convenient to use. So Netflix, other streaming services, but Netflix, and finally, of course, family time. And again, this is, people are normally more focused with the running, I want to run, get in shape, career stuff. Sometimes family time gets neglected from the year focus. And I'd say I spent a lot of time with family last year, and I'd say like probably too much time. I probably got on each other's nerves. So it was a little bit like, I'd say, counterintuitive. And people don't talk about that enough. Like, there is too much of a good thing. And so I was thinking the other day that what I really want to do this year is, I found this great phrase for it. It was to make scarcity the means of harboring abundance. And so I want to take this less is more approach to family time this year. I feel like if I spend less time with family, um, that way this all works. I can get more time to do the other goals and work on cash flow stuff. But also, I think we'll appreciate each other more. It's like this beautiful kind of symbiotic, harmonic yin yang balance, I reckon, if we just spend a bit less time with family this year. Just want to make sure I haven't forgotten anything about that. Yeah, I like it. So, and I can track my progress with social media. So that's something I probably want to do with these goals. I mean, yeah, I was going to do a vision board too, but because I've never done one of those before, I haven't traditionally been a big believer. But it's kind of like mid-February, so it's like, at what point do you kind of? I mean, this is what I've done so far. If you can't see that, it is blank. If you're listening to the podcast, but the podcast also on YouTube and Spotify, and you can watch it there, especially YouTube with Joe Eby. But anyway, the vision board is a work in progress. Some might say, ironically, that a blank vision board is a sign of a content person who's content with what they have, doesn't need anything else, doesn't need to manifest anything else. But I mean, you could always have more, right? You could always have more, and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I mean, I think the real message behind this video, I mean, like, is like, people talk a lot about their goals. Sometimes they post about them. I never really saw the point. Like, this is not about impressing people. Like, I'm not trying to impress you. And then people say, baby, it's good to share them because it keeps you accountable. Like, if you need people to keep you accountable, you just don't want it enough. That's what I say. That's what I say to those people. But another reason you might share goals like this is because you want to help encourage people. You know what I mean? Like them to go and do their best and achieve their best, and not be afraid of what they want and to pursue it ruthlessly. But on that, I'd say that the world has too much. I reckon the world has too much encouragement now. It used to not be, but I think it's kind of swung back the other way. People are trying too hard to be different and trying to overdo things, overachieve. So, I don't think that's the reason either. I just think the real reason I wanted to share this stuff was to help people be honest the way I am. I know that can sound a bit like trite or a bit like ironic, but I think, yeah, this could get kickback. But ultimately, I thought long and hard about this, I guess, for the 6 weeks while I prepared my goals for the year. That, even if people think this is stupid, they think it's ridiculous. If this could help just one person, if this could help one person gain clarity, one person realize what it is they really want, one person realize they don't actually want to read more books this year. They don't care about sounding smart, right? They don't need to be a Goodreads wizard. If this could just help one person live a more authentic, intentional, meaningful, spiritual, or dare I say cash flow rich life, abundant, abundantly abundant, then it'll be all worthwhile. Ridicule me. You know what I mean? Take your shots, because I don't care that much what you think. I really don't have more to say. The next video I will, though, because I can't help myself, attack more the New Year's resolution phase, and why it's probably not. It's not that I did this in mid-February because I was late. It's because there's a reason. Although I didn't realize the reason until after I did it late. But anyway, that is going to be next week. I've also started talking about this stuff on my Substack. So if you want to get a jump on these, I can put the Substack article about like the truth about New Year's resolutions and stuff, and I can put that in the link. But yeah, so stay tuned. Check out the Substack, and please don't let me know what your goals are. I don't care. Keep them to yourself. Don't need a showboat. Thanks, guys.